welcome to the very first episode of Vibes and Tea. Oh my god, there was a point where I thought this was not even gonna happen. Yeah, that was a dream I had once long ago in the midst of a global pandemic. But no, we're here. Despite everything, we are here. As you guys know, and by you guys, I mean like my close friends, I was supposed to do this podcast originally with a friend of mine, but as you can see, I am here by myself, solo podcasting, and let me tell you guys, this is a lot harder than it looks. So I originally wanted to do this podcast with somebody because of my fear of talking to myself for about 30 minutes. And then I remembered, Michelle, you do this already on a daily basis. Why am I here sitting all by myself? Well, let me tell you. I was supposed to do this podcast with a friend. This friend decided that she no longer wanted to do this podcast, which is totally fine, honestly. I think that, this way I have more of an opportunity to bring you guys in and have more one-on-one conversations with you guys. But let me explain what happened. In the beginning, it was great. I had this idea of wanting to do a podcast, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I did a podcast? But doing a podcast by myself, oh no, I would never. I am way too scary to do that. I decided to ask some of my closest friends if they would be interested in doing a podcast with me, in which they responded, nah, no, I don't know. Took that as a solid no. Moved on. My close circle of friends is probably about like a group of 5 to 4 people. And so I went to Instagram and I started scouting. And I wanted my co-host to be someone that was cute, funny, witty, fit the vibe. And so I was scouting and I reached out to a couple people, 3 which have not even opened my DM yet. One that responded and said that she was interested, and another one that also responded saying, hey, yeah, that's such a great idea. So my dumbass did not think about what if all of these girls would have said, yeah, for sure, I would love to do a podcast with you. Then would I just have to ghost all of them? No, I ended up just having to ghost one girl. I'm so sorry if you are listening to this. I just suck at communication and confrontation and telling people no. So I just ghosted her. I'm so sorry. I went with my second person who responded yes. We met up in person. It was great. We were vibing. The conversation was flowing. I thought this was a great idea. Fast forward, we both have agreed to do the podcast. We buy the equipment. All the equipment comes in. We set up our little studio space. Fast forward, we're meeting up for meetings. It's like in the middle of midterms. We're both busy, which is fine. Fast forward, we have our first recording, which was a complete disaster. Let me tell you, I was probably 3 Don Julio shots in, and, probably like some other drinks, some mixing going on in there, and we were just talking. To just, inform you guys, the conversation was about relationships, right? Our first conversation was going to be about relationships. We started talking about child abuse, birthing, breastfeeding, I think was one of them. And by that point, we were just like, okay, let's stop. And my partner had told me like, hey, this sucks. I guess from what she had said, I got a little defensive and was like, what's our first episode? Of course it's going to be trash. Like, we just have to keep pushing, girl. We have to keep doing this. But you know what? I acknowledged it. I knew it was trash. And, I apologized after for being very defensive. And it wasn't like I was super defensive where I was like, no, you're so fucking wrong. It was more like, of course it's going to be trash. This is the first time we're in the studio. And by studio, I mean basement. It's really nothing like fancy. It's my friend's basement. Fast forward, she just starts flaking on a lot of our meetings. Then I just thought, how do I tell her that I think I'm just gonna continue the show by myself? Me being the queen of confrontation. I'm a Libra, by the way. I'm super nice, super friendly, super bubbly. Confrontation is really not my cup of tea. But I reached out to my dear friend Olivia, who is a writing, literature, and publishing major. I reached out to some of my marketing major friends and had them help me construct this very eloquent text message, right? And by eloquent, I mean like the nicest firing ever. So it went something like this. Hey, so I know that I had told you that we should meet up, and I completely understand you're busy. You have your life and your job. I understand. But I think we're not really on the same page, which again, I completely understand. You're busy. I'm busy. We have our own lives. We're our own people. I'm thinking that it's for the best of the podcast that I do it on my own. Just an example. It was very like that. It was sort of like, I'm telling you what I want, but also I'm reassuring you that you're not the problem. I gotta work on that. But it so happened to be her birthday week, right? And so I was constructing this email, this text message, and my friends were looking over it. My brother was looking over it. My boyfriend was looking over it, and everybody was just like, "Yeah, this is really nice. Like, you know, burnt bridges here." And I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna send it." I didn't want to send it on the week of her birthday just in case she really did still want to be on the podcast. I was going to send it regardless, but I didn't want to hit it that week, you know, like her birthday weekend, because this podcast, you know, whatever. The next day, right when the message was signed, not sent, but ready to be delivered, she texts me in the morning, and by the grace of God, I was awake at that time. I was on my phone. I read the first 3 lines. Hey, so I think it's pretty... That's more than 3 words, but you get the point. Hey, so I think it's pretty obvious that I don't want to be in the podcast anymore. In that moment, something just lit up in me, and I was like, oh no, she did not. And I raced to my notes. I copied that message so fucking quickly, send it to her, and then, oh girl, and mind you, that text message was like a book. I just needed to get it out. I had not worked so hard on that message for it to not be read. You know what I mean? That's just the petty side of me. It's my toxic trait. I gotta work on it. Then I was like, oh shoot, girl, I was texting you at the same time. Whatever. So that happened. I just needed to get my word out. I would pay off her half because we did go 50-50 on our little studio and everything. And so I paid her off in weekly increments because homegirl cannot throw down that money again. I think we're still friends. We ended up still being friends, I think. We don't talk as much. You can't do business with friends sometimes, and you have to be very picky with who you do decide to do business with, because sometimes friends and business don't collide, which is probably why, for the best, my close circle of friends were like, no, I don't want to do this. No. That's that. I wish I had some more boiling tea for you guys, but there was no cat fight. We were not fighting. We don't really text anymore. She unfollowed the podcast, which I thought was pretty interesting, but I mean, I don't really care. Vibes and Tea is a solo podcast. And let me tell you guys, solo podcasting is fucking hard. I've been researching, mind you, I already told you earlier, I listened to Jackie Schimmel, the queen of solo podcasting. I've been on YouTube looking up how to solo podcast and watching every single fucking video and taking notes. I got the idea to do Vibes and Tea in the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was working out, making banana bread, picking up new hobbies. I was in my bed. I was drawing, as I like to do. I like to draw. And, you know, I decided, I think I want to do a podcast. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that if you have something that you want to do and you're scared of doing it on your own, just do it. Trust me, when I thought about podcasting in the beginning, I was like, man, I really want to do this, but I don't want to do this by myself. And yeah, it was now we're here, and now I'm by myself, and which is great. I'm not complaining. But one thing that I am freaking complaining about is midterms and fucking finals. So I have like this 10-page paper that I have to write. I'm a senior in college, by the way. Yay, cue the graduation music. Okay, anyway, yes, I'm a senior in college during a global pandemic, during Zoom University. I'm an acting major, theater and performance, to be more specific. One thing I hate that I have noticed about Zoom University, the people who keep their cameras on. Okay, I am a person that loves to keep my camera off during my Zoom meetings and will only turn it on if I have to. And by have to, I mean one-on-one meeting with my professor. Half of the time, I'm not looking at anybody. I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at my other tabs. I'm not like, am I supposed to look at my classmates? No. So I turn my camera off. I do my own thing, which kind of sucks. You know, people who have done online school before the whole COVID thing and have actually learned something, good for you. You are a different type of breed, because I know I cannot. It's been hard. It's been tough. It's been a lot of work. But you know what? We're here. We're striving. We're doing great. I hate Zoom University. And you know what scares me is I'm graduating in May. Yay! An actor graduating during a pandemic where nothing is happening. Where am I going to work? What is going to happen? Yes, the very cliche. It's real. This is what I feel. It is what I am going through. I'm actually kind of, you know what? Like, it hasn't really hit me yet that I'm a senior, and it hasn't really hit me that soon I'm not going to be able to use the student card. I feel like when you tell people that you're a student, you get away with a lot of things, including discounts. You're still kind of a child in the eyes of society. You're still learning stuff. And when I graduate, I'm no longer going to be able to tell people I'm a student. I have to start telling people I'm an actor. And listen, being an actor is all fun and all, but it's tough. Listen, I work in the food industry, right? Whenever my tables ask me, so what do you do? Because, you know, they see this beautiful girl, right? Like, what is this? I'm kidding. What is this girl doing at this restaurant? Like, what do you do? Like, people are curious, right? They want to know, young girl, what's up? It's usually guys, whatever. They're like, so what do you do? I tell them, I'm an actor. And you already get, like, you get the eyes from people like, oh, it's sort of like the sympathy. Oh, that's awesome. And then you get the people that are genuinely intrigued by what you're doing, and it's great. Supportive. I am so done with school. If I have to write another paper, I might just throw up. I feel like when you go to school as an artist, in some ways it, you know, enhances your creative abilities, and others it kind of damps it. I learned a lot. I'm thankful for my college education. I'm glad that it's almost over and then I never have to go back and write another paper. But at the same time, I'm scared of what is to come, because I don't know. I don't know what is to come, especially now that the world is so uncertain and there's a pandemic. And you remember when the pandemic first started? When the pandemic was first a thing, I was actually genuinely kind of excited. People weren't sick. It wasn't something to be scared of. People were still not wearing masks. That's when I was excited. It was sort of like in the beginning when lockdown was happening, everybody was like still making memes about it. You know, oh, quarantine. I don't have to see anybody or make any plans. I am not going to get FOMO because nobody is out at the club. I'm not going to get FOMO because nobody can go outside. This is awesome. I have very bad FOMO. If I don't go somewhere, I'm going to freak myself out and be like, I should have fucking gone, especially if I was invited. I'm an introverted ambivert. No, introverted extrovert, which is an ambivert. I'm an ambivert. Ambivert. So if I want to socialize, I could socialize all I want. If I don't want to socialize, I just want to be in my room with my cat, not bothered by anybody. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I could switch like that. You know, it was in the beginning of the pandemic. I was home. I was alone. It was great. You know, it was exciting. So now it's kind of like, man, I just want to go out and do stuff. I want to live my regular life again. I just want everything to go back to normal. Speaking of the pandemic and all stuff terrible in 2020, COVID is scary. I got COVID, which is also a reason why this podcast took so much fucking longer than it should have. Rewind. I had sent her the text message. We sent it at the same time. Me out of petty, her because she wanted to, her birthday week, whatever, right? Going back, remember that conversation we had earlier? Yeah. A day after that, I tested positive for the coronavirus. I was one of the fortunate ones. It didn't get me that bad. It got Gio really, really bad. Gio had the sweats. He had the shits. He had everything. I have surgery the next day. What's going on? They call me before my surgery. They're like, you have Rona, so we can't do the surgery anymore. And then after that, I was like, well, fuck. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to quarantine for 2 weeks. It was fun in the beginning. Now it's just redundant. Luckily, my family didn't get sick. My mom is fine. My brother is fine. All of my close friends are fine. Thankfully, I let them all know. It's so scary. Like when you get COVID, it's kind of like when you get an STD and you have to let everybody know. It's like that, and then nobody wants to stand in your vicinity. But yeah, no, I was at home infected with corona, and I was just smelling everything. I was like, okay, my Rona has not progressed. This was like my sign to make sure that my Rona wasn't getting that bad. So I was one day like just cleaning up my cat's litter box. You know, it just occurred to me, I cannot smell shit, literally. And I run to my room, I take a big old whiff of the candle, can't smell shit. I'm like, oh fuck, I really have Rona. I mean, because the test wasn't enough, right? Go to the bathroom, get the Fabuloso, shout out to Fabuloso, if you know, you know. Took a big old whiff, could not smell that, probably killed a few brain cells in the making, and then thought, fuck, I have Rona for real. And that was about the worst that I've got. It was just that. And then my smell came back a week later. The only good thing that came out of Rona was I had a few assignments that were due while I was sick, and I honestly fortunate enough that I did not get so sick. I didn't have a fever. Literally, when I tell you the only thing that I had gotten was I lost my sense of taste and smell. That was literally the only thing that I had gotten. I had a few assignments that were due. I was like, well, I can't go to campus because at this point we were doing hybrid, so like a day online, a day in class. They had let them know that I couldn't show up to the last 2 weeks of classes. My professors email me. They're like, if you need any time, if you need an extension, let me know. Me, being the procrastinator that I am, thought, fuck yeah. So I took all the extensions that I could get. And yeah, so I did not do any work for 2 weeks. But it bit me up in the ass now because now it's finals, and all those papers that I needed to get done during midterms are now my finals. And so it's just like 10 papers on top of 10 papers, which do I regret? Yes. I should have just done it, but I didn't. We live and we learn. If that doesn't tell you how done I am with school, I don't know what does. But yeah, that was my Rona experience. Don't recommend. 0 out of 10, 5 out of 10. It wasn't that great. But now we're here. We're prospering. I am negative. I am not in a rush to get that vaccine. I am here. I am living. We are good. I want to end today off just recapping. If you have something that you want to do, just fucking do it. Because before you know it, you might just catch Rona and have to wait another 2 weeks before you're able to do something that you originally planned on doing. If you have Rona, stay away, wear your mask, isolate, get tested every now and then just to make sure. Yeah, be safe, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I promise I will have so much more lined up for you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being so patient. Thank you for understanding. I can't wait to have you guys on the show. I can't wait to interview some of you guys. I can't wait to share the juiciness of life. Can't wait to bite into this apple. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to subscribe, leave 5 stars because that's good for me. I can't wait. I seriously cannot wait. Bye.